Okay, week 7, fun, chapter 10, budgets. Using budgets and planning for consideration. The best job in the company, the CFO, the one who has the most control in the company, where everybody thinks the CEO has it, but yet the one who controls the money really has the power to say yes or no. Obviously, you can submit a proposal to get funds to do a sales program or launch a new product. If the numbers are not there for the finance department to sign off on, it's not going to happen. Um, that doesn't mean that they don't have, you know, the ability to go ahead and say, let's take a risk on this, but most companies are very conservative how they spend their money. They want to make sure that there is a win-win for the company. They do a huge amount of research before launching a new product, testing it, surveys, focus groups on the product, on the show. And sometimes they'll just put a show or a movie and sit it on the shelf and just wait until the timing's right. Could be they might be launching a new movie to come out on Universal, and all of a sudden something happens in the media, in a certain country, some politics, something triggers an event that goes global, and the subject matter of the movie might not be at the right time to be released because of what's going on in the media, in the world at the point. So, so that plays a lot into making those decisions whether to release the funds to go ahead and market or build or anything. Now, in the chapter, we're going over many things, budgets and organization. Each work group, each company has to have a budget. You have to know what you're spending, whether you're manufacturing, servicing, consulting, anything. You need to know what's it cost to keep the lights on in the building, what's the cost to keep the lights on in the building plus your staff, and building materials and etc. Each department will submit its budgets. Each one has its workflow. And obviously in manufacturing, you're going to have a huge variable cost depending on the materials. And if the machines break down, like one of the examples you gave in class, from RJ Reynolds, it was cheaper to go ahead and have a separate line that just ran menthol than it was to have them shut down the machine and waste, I was thinking 2 tons or 200 tons of material. I wasn't sure on but you would spend half a day running product through the machine to clean the machine out because of the menthol smell in the tobacco. So that's all machine. When you factor in the time and the product and the paper and the materials, obviously they decided it's just cheaper to put a whole separate line for menthol and let's leave it at that. Let's call it quits. And those are things that have to go in through when you're making a budget and seeing what's going on in the whole process. You have to, managers have to communicate when there's a variance in a budget. Like you might have a lot of overtime here, but yet you might be looking at, the product count is decreasing. Why are we having overtime? Now, could be, South Florida just received, a couple of weeks ago, Hurricane Matthew. Offices were shut down. The governor said, hey guys, we got to close up. Your staff's got to go home and plan and take care of the homes and family, make sure. Because the storm may come and may not. But there's a big what if factor there. And what price tag do you put on a human being's life? Or as the insurance companies would say, the last hurricane, the last major hurricane, Hurricane Andrew, cost I don't know how many billions of dollars and bankrupted a lot of insurance companies. And the state of Florida has been trying to control that cost. But there's where budgeting and planning comes into play. Understand the criticisms and levels against traditional budgeting and the beyond budgeting approach. Yeah, well, I guess now with IT services and software developing, let's use the banking industry, where I work at now. The banking industry used to have every window filled with a human body at a teller. It had loan officers, it had the branch manager, the assistant branch manager, everybody there to service you and cater to you. Technology is developed. We have now ATM machines. Now we have on your own phone. On your phone, you can write checks, deposit checks, transfer funds. You can do anything you can on just your simple iPhone, or excuse me, any smartphone. You can do it. And think about it. That saves every banking institution money. It can reduce its staff. It can reduce its human capital at the branch, and you can do all your banking needs online from deposit. The only thing you can't do on your smartphone is deposit cash. But you can drive up to the teller in the comfort of your car, make a cash deposit to your account, boom, get a receipt, and you keep on going. You don't have to make a line or anything like that. So figure if a bank has 10 tellers, and now it has, if you notice, most banks have more than one ATM machine. I'll give you the example of Bank of America, right? Most of Bank of America's, at least in Pembroke Pines area and Palm Beach area, have two ATMs inside before you actually walk into the bank, and a little entryway, and then you have two drive-up tellers. So that branch may have had at some point in time, let's say 10 tellers, 15 tellers. Now it's down to 5. Loan officers will now be assigned a territory and spend one day in each office in their territory and rotate from branch to branch, because it's not cost effective to have them sitting there, because there's not that much walk-in traffic. Because now through the internet you can go online, fill out your loan application, upload your documents. They send you the list of documents you need to send them. They send them back. They fill out the application, and you e-sign the entire application online. Boom, you're done. And then it goes to processing and things like that. And there again, we have, think about each one of those tellers and mobile apps saving between 30, let's say a round number of $50,000 for each. It may be even more when you factor in all the transactions that's done online and is done in those ATMs. Okay, and that's a wrap. And thank you. It was a great class.